stop it right here because I feel like I did this multiple times during this conversation, and I want to stop it right here because that was actually a very good question. That question really got the gears turning. Basically what I did here is very subtle. The main thing that I want to point out here in this moment is that repeating. In this video, I'm going to be reacting to a conversation that I had with one of my friends, and we're going to see what we can learn from it, good or bad, and see what we can generally take away from it as well. And for more content on interpersonal skills, social skills, and generally the things that I learned on my personal journey of overcoming social awkwardness and shyness, definitely hit that subscribe button down below. With that, let's get on with the video.
Yeah, let's go. Me and Tim were just talking about content creation and whatnot, and I was telling Tim how recently I've been trying to get over the difficulty of me doing things that are like out of my comfort zone. For me, that was posting content, even if nobody was gonna watch it or whatever. For you, what's something that's difficult for you that you've been trying to push yourself to get over?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh.
And I want to stop it right here because that was actually a very good question. One thing that we can learn from this is that he asked an open-ended question. After he asked that open-ended question, as you can see the reaction and the expression that I had on my face, that question really got the gears turning. And this is the power of open-ended questions, and not only open-ended questions, but thought-provoking questions as well. Normally when we're in conversations with people, we tend to just ask boring questions. Normally we tend to ask questions that are just kind of autopilot, stock questions that we've all heard before that make us go like, oh, because we've answered it over and over and over again. Those boring questions lead to boring answers, which lead to boring conversations. If you want deeper conversations, then ask deeper questions, because deeper questions lead to deeper answers and more thought-provoking answers, which lead to deeper conversations, and from that can in turn deepen your friendships as well, even if it's by just a little bit. So my advice is that if you want to break out of small talk, if you want to deepen your conversations, if you want to deepen even your relationships, then ask deeper questions and more thought-provoking questions. Something that I've learned about asking deep questions is that you know that you've asked the right question when the other person, and they actually have to stop and think about what they're about to say next. And this also brings in the point of breaking people out of autopilot, like I was mentioning before. If you want to stick out, if you want to have deeper conversations, this one simple rule that covers all of those things is breaking out of autopilot. And if you want more on any of those topics, definitely hit the card in the corner right here.
What would be a difficulty in your life that recently you've been working to like get over or get through?
I think it's not too far away from what you were talking about. I noticed that when I start something new, like a new channel, for example, I've noticed that I overthink it a little bit too much. Instead of going and just doing it, I get into the thoughts like, oh no, maybe you can't do it, maybe other people are gonna think of you this way. It's all those things making it feel tougher or make it like seem tougher than it actually is that's just yourself talking. It's the lies in your head.
Exactly, lies.
Yeah.
The thing that my friend did right here, it brings up a good point on matching and mirroring. And this is a great thing to build rapport. It's a good thing to make the other person feel like you're listening to them as well. Now, I haven't talked about matching and mirroring on this channel, but if you would want to see a whole video on it, definitely let me know down in the comments below. But basically what you're doing is that whether it be in your speech, whether it be in your body language, you're mirroring the other person. Now, that doesn't mean that you're acting like a statue, you're just like acting like you're copying the other person, kind of like mocking them, but more so you're repeating certain things that the other person says, or maybe your other person's crossing their leg and you cross your leg too. That might sound like such like a tiny detail that doesn't really seem that significant, but it does do a lot in building rapport with the other person. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I don't really know how all of these things work. Just know that it does work. The matching and mirroring not only builds rapport, but it also shows the other person that you're listening. Basically like repeating back something that the other person said. It shows that, okay, this guy was actually listening to what I said, not just listening to reply. Now you might be asking, okay, how do I do this? How do I match and mirror? And a simple way to match and mirror is to do basically what my friend did right here. It's repeating something that the other person said, whether it be the last couple words that they said or just repeating something that they said in general, just like my friend did here.
Just yourself talking. It's the lies in your head.
Exactly, lies.
Yeah. Head.
Exactly, lies.
Yeah.
And through doing that very simple action, that other person, one, they're gonna feel like you're actually listening and you actually do care about the conversation and not just waiting for the person to be done talking, but rather it shows that you're not just waiting to talk, but you're actually listening to the other person. It actually shows that you're intently listening to the other person. By doing this simple action, like I said, it builds rapport and it shows the other person that you're listening. You actually kind of care about the conversation and not just waiting to talk. And through this simple habit of just repeating the last couple words that the other person said, or just repeating the main idea of what the other person was saying, is a simple little ingredient that you can add to your conversations to keep your conversations alive, keep them going, and also make the other person like you as well.
What do you think is like a very big problem that a lot of men go through?
At least for me, and I observe in other people, is that it's really easy for guys who want to be a lone wolf. We weren't meant to live life alone.
What are some of the problems you see with that?
First thing that pops into my mind is having no accountability. I've come to certain points where I didn't have those people like, well, okay, man, let's do it. You got this. I know you having talks with this guy,
yes,
you've definitely helped me with that. Literally one phone call and like, okay, I got this. I'm filming today, or I'm gonna go do that thing today.
I don't know if you caught it, but basically what I did here is very subtle. Well, basically what I did here in this moment is that I reminded the other person and kind of subtly showed that I really appreciated my friend for something that he did for me. I'm pretty sure there's something psychological that goes on that when you do show sincere appreciation, but I don't think it really takes a psychologist to know that giving your genuine appreciation to someone will make the other person feel good and make the other person feel like they're cherished and they're valued as well by you as a friend and you as a person. This point is very much related to a principle that is talked about in Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and it's to show genuine appreciation to other people. And as you can see here, I did it a little bit in a subtle way by bringing up something that my friend did for me and kind of subtly telling the other person that I appreciated and valued how he was there for me during a certain point in my life. And it doesn't take a professional to tell us that people like genuine appreciation. People like when they're appreciated. People like it when they're valued and when they're cherished. And we like when we know that we did something good for someone else, or maybe we contributed in a positive way to someone else's life. And I reiterate this in my videos a lot, but the key word here is genuine. Being genuine with your appreciation. It could be really easy and a big temptation in this world of interpersonal skills and use it as like psychological tricks to get what we want from people. And if I were to be honest, that's who I was and that's what I did in the past. I wanted to do these things so that I could get other people to like me, so that I can get something from someone. What I've learned from then is the difference between authenticity and manipulation. Now, if you're using these tips and tricks in an social advice just so that you could get stuff from people, then it's pretty much manipulation. But if you're doing all of these things, you're listening to people, you're giving your attention to people, you're actually invested in the conversation and invested in the other person because you love and you care about them, and you do things from that heart, then that is authenticity. Other than that, it's manipulation, at least in my opinion. And if you think about it too, when was the last time you gave sincere, genuine appreciation to someone, or sincerely thank someone for like something that they did, even if it was the simplest thing? And it doesn't really take too much imagination too. If someone, like one of your friends, gave you sincere appreciation, how you would feel about that. It doesn't really take too much thinking to know that you would love it and you would very much appreciate their appreciation. And again, sincere appreciation, genuine appreciation, because you think about it, what's the point of being insincere and lying that you're thankful to someone just so that you can get something? That's a friendship or relationship that is built on sinking sand, honestly.
I can recall a time when literally I didn't want to film. Like we touched on earlier about all the excuses. If you weren't there, you're right, I probably would have pushed it off till next week, next year. That accountability thing is very important.
I think that is like a tempting thought to just like, if I just do this alone, I'll get further because I have no distractions. Human beings go further when we're together with others. In community, we lift up others.
As men, we definitely find that appealing. Like, oh yeah, I'm alone. Well, if I can do something, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not, how we should go about it.
And if we do get all those different benefits of being in a community, those guys.
I just want to stop it right here because I feel like I did this multiple times during this conversation, and to be honest, I do have a bad habit of doing this. Again, like literally, like we're talking about. I know it can kind of sound like a little hypocritical, but then, yeah, I fall short in this too. The main thing that I want to point out here in this moment is that instead of acknowledging and, like I said early in this video, repeating back the thing that he said to like maybe get a little bit clarification and show that I was actually listening, instead I just jumped in with my idea so I can add on to his idea, which is not very much of a bad thing. But if you do want to get into that practice of listening, then I don't recommend doing what I did right here, just jumping in with my idea so I can add on to it, but rather listening, maybe repeating back, okay, so basically what you're saying is this, summarizing and repeating back something that he said, or just mentioning something that he said. Like the main idea can make the other person feel like, okay, yeah, this guy listened, this guy heard what I was saying. Of course, we're all not always going to do all these things 100% of the time. And I'm not even saying that conversations need to be perfect like that too, that it always needs to be following the rules, you always need to be doing this and that and the other. Out in the wild, out in the real world, conversations are messy. Not saying that's a justification of not listening and not doing these things to make the other person feel listened to, but just to let you know, you're not alone in making those mistakes as well. I make these mistakes still too. And we're all continuing to learn and continuing to improve together. But yeah, I think that was the video. Several different points that I made in that video, but overall, as you can see, I do make a couple mistakes, but I'm just teaching you what I've learned over the years. So maybe you could point out a couple mistakes that I made as well. And feel free to put that down in the comments below. But I'm here to teach you the things that I've learned over the past 10 years. Not to say that I'm the conversational master. I hope you got value out of this video, and if you did, definitely hit that like button. And if you didn't and you didn't like the style of video, definitely hit that dislike button. And definitely drop a comment down below what you thought, and if you want to see more content like this.